Hello, welcome back to the Underlap. Today we're going to discuss England versus Wales, which happens today. We're going to discuss the rest of the tournament so far, and then we're going to do a little team of the tournament so far. Today I'm joined by Isaac, and we were supposed to have a Wales fan with us today, but
you got a nice United fan.
He hasn't come back out of hiding since the Iran game. So we're joined by the last best thing, Jake.
Thank you for having me.
So first of all, we're going to discuss what's happening tonight, England versus Wales. How are we feeling?
It's going to be another 0-0.
0-0?
Yeah, it's going to be 0-0.
Why?
I think, like Southgate for the America game, he did it on purpose. I'm hoping he did it on purpose. Because it was a bad watch, but I feel like we don't need to try and win these games. We don't need to try to win them because we know we're going to win them anyway. I think Wales will bring the fight to us. They'll be fired up because their World Cup lives are at stake with it, like in this game. But I don't think they've got the quality to beat us. And like Jake said it before, like rumour is Henderson's going to start over Bellingham. 4-2-3-1, low block, pass it around the back, and just bore Wales to death. But with Southgate, that's fine as long as we get results. We have to win some big games and potentially win the tournament to justify us playing this way, because as fans we want to watch a game of football that's actually enjoyable and not 0 England, 0 USA, because that was awful.
Yeah, so do you reckon that England are going to perhaps play a more passive game? Because realistically, England are through no matter what the result, as long as we don't lose 4-0 to Wales. So do you reckon that Southgate might rotate the team a bit, play a really boring game and just see it out, rest some players for the next round? Because looking at it at the moment, our knockout run is going to be quite difficult.
I still think he'll play the same similar type of game that he's done over the last two games. I feel like the 4-2-3-1 is very effective that we play. I do think a lot of subs will be changed. I think Maguire, obviously, you're Shaw, your Kane, Sterling. I think Bellingham will get a rest this time. Your Rice will still play. But I still think that with Southgate's, the way that he wants England to play, because obviously he's got to appease so many fans. Like, you can't just sit back, and I think with the Wales game, they're obviously Wales are desperate. Like, we've obviously got Reece, who's sadly not here today. He said it's like 60...
He hasn't died.
He's not dead.
Yeah, no, he's not dead. He's not dead.
Reece is fine. We spoke to him earlier.
Yeah. But
still got his hood up.
He said it was like 64 years since like Wales have been in the World Cup. Like not even his dad or anyone like that has seen Wales being in the World Cup. So I think Wales are going to go full force, and I just think for England to sit back and again play that boring football that all the fans have completely gone at Southgate for this past week, I don't think it'll be acceptable. So I think some players are demanding it. Sorry, I'm just saying, like Kane as well. He needs to, prove that he's the leading striker for England. So I think it's not just going to be a 0-0.
I don't think the backlash against Southgate is justified. He battered Iran. I mean, yes, given Iran were a little shook up because of like all the protests going on in Iran, and obviously they refused to sing the national anthem at the beginning of the game. So there was a lot in it for Iran there, a lot on their mind. But we played really well against Iran, and then against USA, we knew full well that they were going to attack us the same way Wales will. I think Wales versus England will be the exact same as USA versus England. It will be them with a lot of attacks, a lot of counters, a lot of turnovers, maybe a few moments, or what are you doing, Maguire? Although he's not been that bad, to be fair.
But you can't say it's the same as what he is for United.
Oh no, it's terrible for United. But I feel like Wales were poor, really poor against Iran. Iran could have won that game a lot sooner than the 103rd minute or something. They got their first goal. We'll be fine. England will be fine. Wales, I don't think they'll score. Like I said to Reece before we even thought of the podcast, was I don't think Wales will score. They've proved me wrong there. They got one goal. I don't think they'll score again. I don't think they'll score against England.
So we all had the unfortunate experience of watching that game against America, and it was almost like a contrast of two teams that played between England against Iran and England against America.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the exact same
it was the
players.
same 11, but they
Yeah.
just played completely different. We went and scored 6 goals against Iran, and then got completely outplayed, in my opinion, by USA. And I don't know where it went wrong.
It didn't go wrong.
I just think
Because I think he did it on purpose. There was no attempt to
how
try
can-
and score. We didn't attack with more than 4 players, and I think that's just because we don't need to. It was almost like a rest game. It's like, we got the 3 points, all we need is 2 more points, and we can relax as much as possible. The only argument against that is, why did he make no changes? Why did Foden not play and stuff?
Foden for Mount was a big one.
Because Mount was very vacant in that game. He did not help whatsoever.
He was awful,
going
in my
forward.
opinion.
Yeah, he was really bad. But once again, I just don't think there was any emphasis on trying to win that game. From the beginning, it was just pass between the centre-backs. There was like 30 passes between Maguire and Stones and Pickford for
Do you
like the
think that's
first 10
acceptable?
minutes. It's not acceptable for us anyway. It's only acceptable if it brings results. If we win this World Cup, yeah, hooray, we've won the World Cup. That'll be absolutely amazing. But if we get knocked out in the next round because we haven't finished first in the group, then everyone's gonna complain, because it's gonna be, well, you've wasted a crop of talented players, you played boring football, and now we've been knocked out in the round of 16.
I wouldn't say the Iran game was boring. I mean,
No,
that
but
was
the
it's
Wales
opposite.
game will be boring. The
Yeah.
Wales game will be boring, I think.
So you're definitely going with 0-0 then.
I'm going 0-0.
So obviously we spoke a lot about England, but it's really not gone right for Wales at the moment. So what do you reckon it is for them? Do you reckon their team's just not good enough, or do you reckon it's like a tactical problem? Like, where do you think it's gone wrong for Wales?
I'd say a bit of both. Because the Wales squad isn't like the England squad. I mean, they've got the Bale, Aaron Ramsey, who's, quite experienced, but he wasn't, again, good against Iran. And they got a few defenders that can maybe knock it around in terms of playing in the Premier League, but the quality isn't there, and the experience might be lacking. But I still think as a squad, just that drive of being in that World Cup for 60+ years, the Wales fans have never experienced this. So I feel like they will, in every match, go for it. I mean, this could be Bale's last time you see him in a huge major competition. So I just feel like this whole 0-0
about the
or
MLS?
the sitting back. Well, yeah, if you want to count that as a major competition,
It's
but
Major League Soccer. It's in the name.
fair enough. if you follow MLS, then that's fair enough. But I couldn't tell you anything about them if you bring them up. But yeah, I just feel like Wales will end up going full out on this, and I feel like there'll be huge gaps during the game. And this whole 0-0 of sitting back and it being very boring, I just feel like both teams will have a load of chances. And I'm not saying it'll be the same as Iran versus England, but I definitely think you'll see a few goals and you'll see some good moments in the game.
I'm not saying I want it to be 0-0, by the way. I don't want to waste 90 minutes of my life watching Maguire and Stones pass it between each other. But I don't think the Wales squad is good whatsoever. I think mainly Reece and Wales fans in general, I think, have over-exaggerated just how good this squad is. Gareth Bale is not the player he was. Aaron Ramsey is not the player he was, especially after the embarrassment in the Europa League final against Frankfurt for Rangers. That penalty miss was awful. They've got a champ. That team wouldn't survive the Premier League, and I don't even think it'd get promoted in the Championship.
Well,
The quality of player that they have is worse than USA's, worse than Iran's, and much worse than England's. Like, they are the worst team in that group.
Yeah, so if we try and move away now from England versus Wales just for a bit, it's been quite an unpredictable tournament so far. Obviously,
Indeed,
when we filmed last week, we'd only had Qatar versus Ecuador, and now we've had Saudi Arabia beating Argentina. We've had
Nobody guessed that, by the way.
we've had
No.
we've had Belgium lose yesterday. We've had Croatia looking really good as well.
yeah.
Just seen about 9 goals, 10, 11 goals going
Yeah,
in today
literally,
with
like,
3-3 with
as
Serbia.
of filming, we've had South Korea versus Ghana 3-2.
Yeah, and then
We had
Serbia, Cameroon. That was
yeah
3-3.
3-3.
3-3,
So
yeah.
it's been a lot of goals today, but obviously previous days we've had a lot of 0-0. So it's been a very like up and down tournament. But if we talk a little bit on Argentina for a bit, because last week we all sat here and said they're going to win the World Cup, and then they
Just to say, I wasn't here, and I wouldn't want Argentina to win the World Cup. But.
so they lost their first game to Saudi Arabia, and then they won against Mexico.
Do you want to know why?
Oh, here we go.
My boy Enzo Fernandez. What a goal, by the way. And Messi's goal was unreal.
But obviously they came into this tournament and they had such a long 3-year unbeaten run, and then they've came in here
35 games unbeaten, I think, or
and
36.
then all the pundits are saying that they don't look like they have an idea of what their tactic is, or how to set up, or they don't really look like they have a clue, in all honesty. And without Lionel Messi, Argentina might be out already. So
that could be true.
what's happened for Argentina? Why has it gone wrong?
I know they've won the World Cup in the past, but they've never really had
Well,
a
they've just won
team-
Copa America.
Yeah, but they've never really had a team where every single player has been top quality. Like we said last week, you look at that Argentina squad, apart from Messi and maybe Lautaro Martinez and Dybala, there's not many standout players in any other positions.
So you got
Martinez.
you got Lissandro Martinez, you got Emi Martinez,
Martinez
can't
is a good
forget him.
goalkeeper.
you
yeah.
got Lo Celso maybe.
Enzo Fernandez.
For Reece McAllister.
Oh yeah, Alexis
Yeah,
McAllister.
he played against Mexico.
Yeah.
He looked all right, I thought.
They've got good players, but they've never not made it all about one player. They've never not had to rest on one player. You had Maradona, and then you had Messi.
Yeah, but that is two
And
crazy
Raquel,
players to.
And
Two
Raquel
of the
rely
best
on-
who have ever
It's the
played
same
the sport,
with it's
really,
the same
haven't
with Portugal.
Yeah.
It's how many times have Portugal been bailed out by Ronaldo, and how
Yeah.
many times have Brazil been bailed out by Neymar?
Well, that's why I think Neymar being injured.
Every
is almost a
country
good
has
thing.
that one player. Even England had Kane for a few years, where where would we have been in that Euros without? No, sorry, the last World Cup.
Yeah.
Kane top goal scorer. We probably would have gone out in the group if Kane wasn't there. So every country has that one player that you think, if he's not going, then we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Or they'll just be a lot worse of a team in general. I think
Yeah.
you'll still see some moments where other people will stand up for the country, because again, through tournaments you see all these players that you might have never heard of or not really done much in league football, and they show up on a tournament, and they just end up doing 10
Don't make me
better.
mention him again.
Go on, you might as well.
Harry Maguire.
What? I meant Enzo Fernandez.
So
Yeah.
I think that's what the best thing about country football is even though you've got those star players, you do in a tournament end up seeing the players that you've never heard about come up and do something for your country. So I'd say the Argentinians and the Portugals or Brazils, when you're resting on one player, the likelihood that will happen, but again, you'll see a player shine or a team do so much better in just a particular scenario in a tournament.
I think without Messi and Ronaldo, I think Portugal look better on paper than Argentina.
Oh yeah,
do
they got a
without
lot
those
more
two players.
stars.
I do fear for Argentina in upcoming tournaments after this World Cup, like their next Copa America.
Have you not seen
and then the next
Garnacho?
World Cup.
Oh dear.
Oh god.
You not seen him as a future star for Argentina? No.
Oh dear. But no.
Who?
So
No,
Give me
he's been-
3-4 years and we'll see where
He's
he
been
is.
decent recently as Garnacho.
So a country that I believe's been overlooked a little bit at the start of the World Cup, but in my opinion have looked the best is France. So obviously they won the last one, and I didn't see anyone predicting France to win the World Cup when they should have. Realistically, they've still got.
Guess who didn't overlook France in last week?
Well, yeah. So they had.
Me. I didn't.
Everyone's saying Brazil. Everyone's saying Argentina. Even England's got shout-outs, but France were no one's list. But
Well, it's the,
they
cur-
look.
it's the curse, isn't
They've
it?
looked the best out of everyone. Maybe Spain as well, but obviously
Spain have been
they
unreal.
drew to Germany. But France have not been threatened at all.
No.
They've looked so comfortable in every game they've played, and Mbappe
It's
is
crazy as well
again
with all the
looking
injuries that
unreal.
they've had towards the team. I mean, just before the World Cup even started, you had Nkunku going out of injury. Did Benzema even get
Yeah,
a go
Benzema
in?
got injured in training.
Yeah, so
that's already
Benzema's
two
out.
star players already gone before the World Cup. I mean, before the tournament even started.
To be fair, France
they've done
played
very
for a
well.
lot of years
No
without
Pogba
Benzema.
either.
No Pogba, no Kante as well.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah,
again,
there was a lot of
huge.
pressure on that midfield. Camavinga and Chouamini, like obviously a very young midfield with no like
Well,
leader
Camavinga's
in
not
there.
featured really.
Yeah,
He's
Rabiot.
preferred for Fana.
Well, Rabiot's played.
Rabiot,
He played really well. Rabiot. He obviously got the goal in the first game, and then he played well in the second as well. So obviously the players are stepping up when they need to.
And Mbappe.
Obviously they had another
Mbappe,
injury in the first game as well. Lucas Hernandez.
His brother's better. Teo Hernandez
Yeah,
is so
Teo-
much better.
I've always questioned
I'll
that
back you on that
choice from Deschamps of always starting Lucas over Teo, because Teo's probably one of the best left backs in the world. But then
when Cancelo's not playing there, he probably is the best left back in the world.
well, yeah. So obviously he played Teo. Well, he subbed him on for his brother after he. I'm pretty sure it's an ACL tear, so that's not looking good for him. And I've also heard rumours that he's questioning just giving up on football after that injury.
Well, because he got injured as soon as he signed for Bayern as well. And then he had all the legal issues as well. So, it's not looked good for him, has it?
But yeah, so obviously Teo came on, got an assist.
Yeah.
And then he played another great game in the last game as well. So I can't really pinpoint a weakness in France's side at the minute. Even on the right-hand side, Pavard played a good game.
And if you look at the centre-back options... Yeah, Dembele
Dembele's
has been really good.
That's one that I thought would surprise me, because I've written Dembele off quite a bit.
Well, he was getting his career back on track at Barcelona a bit, especially towards the end of last year,
and
then he started getting the United and the Chelsea and the PSG rumours. But he stayed at Barcelona, and I'm pretty sure he's had a good year as well.
Because he is very injury prone. He'll kick the ground.
He's probably spent more time
out
injured than he has actually playing.
Yeah, I think he's missed 120 games or something like that since he's been at Barcelona. Something crazy. But
how much did he move? Was it like
it was like 130 million or something. It was a crazy figure, and I think people forget that sometimes. People will look at Dembele and think, oh yeah, he's a good player, and but I don't think people realise that Barcelona paid 130 million for him. And he's
Dembele was Mbappe before Mbappe.
He was the third. He was the third, fourth most expensive player of all time.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah.
But yeah, so he's moved to Barcelona for money that Mbappe moved to PSG for, and he hasn't. He hasn't exactly hit the grain that Mbappe's hit, has he?
When Mbappe's on form, it's just no stopping him at this current time.
And he's
had the best start to the World Cup than you can imagine. 2 years ago at the Euros, he didn't score a goal, I don't think.
Yeah,
and he missed a penalty.
He's ridiculous. I don't watch much French league football, but at this World Cup, he's just so enjoyable to watch, and the way he's able to move the ball so quick, it's unreal to watch.
Yeah, for anyone who's not seen it, the video where
that's embarrassing. That is
the video. The ball's not even near him.
No, he just
steps forward, and the defender is on his arse.
I'll put a clip in the edit, but literally,
it's unreal.
Mbappe just feints one way, and I can't remember who they were playing. Was it Croatia they were playing?
If it was, it might have been Pavard
it may have been Switzerland.
Yeah, it was the first. Was it not the first game, or was it the second game?
It was the second game.
Who did they beat in this? Why can I not remember?
I can't remember. But he sort of feints one way, and the player his legs just give up.
Oh, Denmark, yeah.
Yeah, Denmark. So he just feints, and the defender's legs just give up. He ends
up going back to where he was anyway. Yeah, he didn't move, and it
just shows probably the fear that the defenders have when they have to try and defend him. They're on high alert that they know that if Mbappe gets running, they're not catching him.
He's so fast.
He's really I can see him when he accelerates. It's just I've never seen someone move that quick.
His legs turn into that Scooby-Doo running away when he jumps into Shaggy's arms. You can't even see his legs; they're moving that quick.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
For
Mbappe, I'm not on about country though. I'm on about in club football. Do you think him at PSG for a long period of time? Do you think it will help him in his career, or do you think he needs that move to either a Premier League or a La Liga team?
I think he's building that legacy, and he's one of the most highest paid players in the world. He's got so much control.
He's the president, isn't he?
At PSG.
He's the president of the club while playing on the pitch.
I don't know how much of this this Real Madrid speculation is actually him, or whether it's just media just bringing it up, because the media always bring it up saying, Mbappe's ready to go in January. He's saying that he's hating his time, and then Mbappe comes out in an interview saying, I didn't say any of this, I'm happy to stay at PSG. So you don't know.
All that money will make somebody happy to stay anywhere, I'm pretty sure.
What about the dressing room morale of all of these players falling out with him because he's got that presidential
But then what's the accuracy of that? It's is that actually happening, or is
Yeah.
that just the media trying to create a
Well,
story?
there is a lot of stories about the PSG dressing room being split into Argentina.
They have got a
Brazil.
lot of characters in that dressing
Yeah.
room. There is Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe. Like, there will be egos in that dressing room.
Sergio Ramos.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of like I said, big
Verratti.
characters in that
Small
dressing
man
room.
Small
syndrome.
man, he'll do a lot of harm, won't he?
Oh, I love Verratti though.
He's a really good
I'm
player.
kind of gutted Italy aren't at this World Cup. I mean, I know they beat us, and I should be bitter about it, but their midfield's unreal.
That was a dark day in English football.
Oh.
Yeah.
And for everyone around the country.
That's probably what Wales think right now.
Not on that level. They
Porridge.
have to make a final to lose it.
Yeah. But yeah,
Sorry, Wales fans.
so yeah, have you got any prediction changes at all? Obviously, like you said, we all had Argentina at the start. Are they still your pick for the win?
I might have to change it to Spain because of that.
Spain.
That gets me a gift voucher for Amazon. So I need to will them on to win, and then I get.
It would have been
I got something out of
great
it.
if your Gavi shirt came for this.
Oh, I know. Gavi shirt should be here for next episode if all goes well. If Adidas store print it for me.
What about you, Jake? Who do you
I'm
reckon that
still
going
going to go with not Argentina, sorry. I mean Brazil. Brazil was my choice before this whole World Cup started. And I mean, you've seen Neymar get injured.
But they haven't got Neymar anymore.
Yeah, but they haven't. But look how many they've got instead. They've got Richarlison, Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo, Anthony.
His goal was unreal.
The list could go. I mean, Richarlison as well.
goal.
Yeah, I mean they've only played one game. They're playing soon, as soon as this episode finishes. I think.
I heard Richarlison got like 15 million followers on Instagram after his goal.
Yeah, he went up like dramatically. It's insane. It's like
Which
when Messi
it just
moved
shows
to
the
PSG.
platform that the World Cup has. Like, you can play well and like.
It's with the quality and the squad depth of what Brazil have, and the fact that they're a flair type of team. If they're on form and they can do all the tricks and stuff that they want to do, who's going to stop them?
And football in
France.
Brazil. Yeah, true.
I mean, they could,
Or
but
Spain. Come on,
you know,
Spain. Gift voucher.
See, I like Spain. They won their first game very comfortably, 7-0. But then
They're
again,
having fun,
but
weren't
then they drew against Germany, which I think I didn't predict. I had Spain to win that game.
I was gonna say Germany to win it, and I had my Germany shirt on, and then Spain dominated possession. Germany went 1-0 down, and then Füllkrug out of all people.
Yeah, it was like 84th minute, quite a
Scored,
late
yeah.
goal.
And he was playing in the Zweite Bundesliga last year, so to see him score at a World Cup is quite cool. But I don't think he's the answer to Germany's issues, though. Is Füllkrug.
Well, in terms of my predictions, I'm still backing Argentina because Spain won the World Cup in 2010 and they lost their first game 1-0 to Switzerland.
Yeah.
So you can't write a team off of one loss.
No,
I know they
definitely not.
haven't really looked on it, but I think Messi will want it that much that it's his last
It's the
World
same
Cup that
with
he can drag
Ronaldo,
them
really.
through.
The amount of times Messi single-handedly won games for Barcelona and for Argentina in the past.
And I
The
feel like
likelihood he does that is very
they've got
high.
the ability in the knockout stages to like they could still not be on it but still be the best team on the
or
pitch
just get
to
that
just
goal
get
or
through
that
the game.
crucial
Yeah,
moment that they need.
they
and
can still just
they're
have
definitely going to be up
they
there.
can still be like a team that isn't dominating the game, isn't playing well, but then Messi pulls something ridiculous out the bag and they win 1-0.
Well, like he did against Mexico.
Well, yeah,
That was
like
brilliant.
Argentina looked like they weren't getting anything from that game, and then Messi just hit it from 25 yards and it's gone in. And then obviously Enzo Fernandez hit an
Yeah.
absolute screamer.
But what
Which
do you-
obviously Messi's been directly involved in all three of Argentina's goals this
Yeah.
competition so far. So obviously he's going to be important. But I still think that he'll be able to drag Argentina through and potentially still win the World Cup.
What about Portugal?
No, I don't think. I don't know.
I'll
They
have
were
to
bad
get in about
against
Ronaldo
Ghana.
and Portugal at some
See,
stage. but
Ghana could have came back in that game.
I think, yeah, they just needed a bit longer. They needed the 25 minutes of extra time.
Yeah,
every other
the
game.
classic Qatar added time.
I can't see them winning. If I'm happy to be brutally, I would love to see them win. If it's not England, I would see Portugal, just for the fact that Ronaldo.
1 of 1.
Yeah,
So-
the 1-1. But if
Plus
I'm
all
being
Portuguese
honest,
people.
yeah. But if I'm honest, I feel like they will eventually crumble at some stage. But again, they still have that quality and power to eventually, if so, they can get themselves to a final and potentially even win it just by, again, you talk about Messi in his moments, Ronaldo equally the same in terms of moments,
I mean, he did
or
just
getting his
score a
team over the
penalty.
finish line. No, I'm not just on about that, I'm on about for his career as well. I mean, he has taken teams to Champions League victories and, you know, La Liga titles, and, you know, even going back to not the second spell of United but the first spell, he was the guy that carried parts of United even when we had like brilliant like players like Rooney and Scholes or Giggs and that lot. So I still think, you know, if Ronaldo's on form, as well as not just Ronaldo, the entire team, you could end up seeing potentially Portugal doing it. But
well, if Portugal were to go that far, if Portugal were to go that far and get to the final, would be against Argentina.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, well, as long as Argentina gets
the whole world,
well, yeah.
even if you're not a football fan, I think the whole world
still.
would watch. Yeah, for 120 odd minutes, depending on how long the added time is for each half.
Both Messi and Ronaldo score a penalty, and it goes to penalties at the end, and they both take their fifth penalty.
That will be talked about.
It'd be the biggest game.
You
ever.
Tell your grandkids, you tell your kids, you tell anyone really.
You tell your grandkids before your kids.
You tell the people's kids.
Yeah,
you walk down to the shop and just tell some random guy who's buying.
Oh, that game was on.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Yeah, did you watch that? Yeah.
But yeah, so if we take a short little break from the World Cup, we have a Man United fan on today, and they're a club that are a little bit in the mess. So obviously you had the whole Ronaldo situation, which wasn't obviously ideal, but then you had the Glazers now apparently ready to sell.
Hopefully.
However, I hope you're ready to start deleting all your Twitter tweets, because it may be a Saudi Arabian club that take over. So all this heat that you've given Man City over the years about being taken over by like an oil club and have all that like dirty money, like that's ready for you now. So
if that eventually does happen and that's the way that United are going to go down, I will back it if they are a club or a board that will help the club out. My idea of United, because of how the Glazers have treated United over the past 20 years, has been disrespectful, and they don't appreciate owning such a great club. I would rather have someone like Sir Jim Radcliffe, someone that would put the club first in front of anyone else. Example, we just need the stadium to be rebuilt in terms of stuff falling apart. We need the connection between the fans and the board again, just like how Leicester have had theirs. Because I've example of Leicester's. I mean, they don't go and spend big money signings, but they've improved the club in entire.
Spend any money.
No, they don't.
They don't have any money.
They look after their club so much, and I think that's what United fans are absolutely desiring for. So I think if the Saudi Arabian board or anyone like that comes in for United, if you're willing to put the club first, and help out, not just go, oh, you know what, we're going to sign this, that, and the other, and then that's it. That's not really what us as United fans would want. We want the club, and we want that connection between us and the board, where we can be like, you know, we're on the same page here. We want the same goal and the same aim, and that's United to be at their very best, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch as well.
But what then, as a Man United fan, do you have over Man City fans when they start pulling out all the Premier League trophies in the last 10 years, and you can't just say, oh, you had to spend billions of pounds of Saudi Arabian money for...
We spent a lot of money in terms of, you know, but so is every other club. I mean, that's just the way modern football is now.
It is.
It's a shame, obviously, because I like the old-fashioned way of, you know, building your club exactly through like academy
5
players.
sausages and dumbbells for
but having like, you know, a big example, the class of '92, where we didn't really spend a penny on them, and we made them into legends. I mean, you love the underdog story of having someone that you don't know anything about comes into your club through an academy level and becomes one of the best players at the club. I mean, that was what United's foundation is. That's like our structure of our team. That's the best thing we've done in terms of, you know, putting ourselves on the map as well as winning titles. And if it's the modern football way of having to buy your players or do what it is, I mean, that's the way it will have to be. But, you know, I still don't like the way City have got themselves to become the best team in England. It's always going to be, oh, well, we did it a different way. So I see it. It
doesn't feel organic.
Yeah, because I'm a United fan. I've seen the way we've come to the top, and I've seen the way City have come to the top. I don't like. I see Liverpool as well. Liverpool, I absolutely hate, but I have a bit more respect for them because they've done it similar to us. they didn't have the money back then, but they managed to build themselves through players or academy level, or not having to spend billions on players.
But United have spent billions on players, and that's
They've
the
spent
issue.
more than Man City.
Yes,
that's
the money's
modern
come
football,
from different means, because in America the Glazers are heralded as like great businessmen, like what they've done for the NFL.
Well, that's
And
what
the
they care
success
about
they've
more.
gotten there. Yeah, exactly. That's what they care about. I think United have had an owner who's got more money than sense when it comes to like UK football, when it comes to
But
football
yeah,
in England.
they take more money out of the club than
Yeah.
put into it.
Exactly. They've got more money than sense. They only care about themselves, and they probably only care about the NFL. They just own Man United to say they own Man United, really.
Mm.
Because like you talk about the class of '92 and people coming through the academy. I don't think they've changed the academy since then. They've not changed
that's
their
one
scouting
thing that
system or anything
that's one
like
thing
that.
Ronaldo was sure
Yeah.
to say on Piers
But
Yeah.
Morgan's
that's
interview.
not the club; it's more the board. In
Yeah,
terms
exactly.
Of it. Yeah, again, it's just like we need to shift with the times, if you know what I mean. I've not obviously become like what City have become, but if it means like
Well-
we need better facilities or we need to modernise more things at the club, then that's
mean,
what
But
we have to
that
Burnley
is
now
one.
have-
That is
it's-
one thing that Man City have done really well. So they
Mm.
built a like multi-billion-pound training
I
facilities.
can't
Yeah.
fault. I
and,
can never fault them.
like,
because
They've
I've been
given
the-
that to the community.
I've
They've
been to
given
the
jobs
Etihad.
people.
I've been to the Etihad a few times, and I can say it's one of the best grounds I've been to in terms of
Mm.
like what is there, and their facilities are top tier, and like even just like the simple things like the food that they offer is great, and all the toilets. Man City's toilets are brilliant compared to,
toilets. I mean,
compared-
you go City for the day. You know,
compared to
those
any
toilets,
other stadium I've been to. Like they put so much money not just into the team but into making the club like
And
an
to making the
enjoyable
surrounding area
experience.
better
Yeah.
too.
Like
Yeah.
they've got like massive fan parks. Like they have like a live band playing outside the ground usually. Like obviously it's like maybe not your traditional football experience, but
Old
it's
Trafford
like
couldn't handle having 104,000
Hmm.
people in to watch Ed Sheeran. The
Well,
stadium had
Well,
collapsed.
no one would really know who he is because we get people from different countries coming
Yeah.
to us. I guess there is the tourist site of Man United. But
I mean I think
No,
you
but
doubt how big Ed Sheeran
did,
is.
Ed Sheeran did sell out the Etihad Stadium. So.
Yeah, but
Mm.
yeah, so we can talk about the Ronaldo situation. Obviously, it was a sour end to
yeah.
a Manchester United spell that obviously you probably wouldn't have wanted it to end the way it did.
Oh, it
But-
is upsetting for anyone that is a big United fan and Ronaldo fan of that.
He shouldn't have started anyway.
But
He shouldn't have gone back.
at the end of it, we'll look back in years' time, and I think all this stuff that's happened, I don't think it's going to be about Ronaldo right now. It'll be remembered as Ronaldo was winning us Champions Leagues, and he won his Ballon d'Or here, and he was the guy that Sir Alex Ferguson, like, he brought him under his wing and stuff like that. I think Ronaldo, it is best for him now to move on. To wherever he goes, that's his decision. I'm glad he never ended up going to City or a rival Premier League team, because then I think that would have hurt me more than what's happening now. I think that's more betrayal. In terms of what he's doing, he didn't get game time for these past like few months, so it wasn't like out of
He's
nowhere.
a massive baby. He gets paid 500 grand a week, and he throws bottles and storms off because they lose. They were winning against Tottenham, and he still ran off.
That I don't condone.
Like,
Obviously, I'm not gonna. back him on that.
Ronaldo
I
would have
think he
been
was-
considered that great player that won you championships. And
He still would though. That's
But
the
he
problem.
won't now because
his
of
legacy
this.
isn't tarnished. It's just,
I
it's a
think
way
it
of
is.
him. If you ask a United fan that has seen Ronaldo and how he has done for the club, it's even if you think you're a Messi over Ronaldo, you're not really going to go, oh, you know what, because of Ronaldo and what he's done over the past few months, you know, everything that he's ever done for this club, you know, he's tarnished.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
it's to do with the professionalism. Ronaldo prides himself on being the most professional, the most
but at the
hardworking.
same time, he's so
Yes,
driven
you
to
can
become
look
the
like
best
you can
player.
look like a model, but he needs to work on his attitude more than he does his physical fitness.
I will say though, Ten Hag and how he dealt with it as a manager is the best way that
Yeah.
you could have done.
Yeah,
and
he definitely
I love
stamped
Ten
his
Hag, and I
authority.
was so
Ronaldo-
happy when we got him first, and I just know he's going to hopefully be the guy to bring
Yeah.
United back to where we need
Ronaldo's
to be.
like the high school bully who will bully everyone, but then as soon as somebody stands up to him, he'll throw a paddy. And Ten Hag is a nerdy kid that finally took a stand, and that's cool.
That's
I'm glad Ten Hag
a
did
weird
that
analogy.
I'm glad Ten Hag did that because it put Ronaldo in his place. He's still a player on the books. He was still a player on the books at Man United, and the manager's above you. Unless you're Kylian Mbappe, you should listen to your manager, I reckon.
Well, I don't think that PSG have got that like mentality to think that. I think Mbappe thinks he's bigger than the club.
PSG,
and I don't think PSG want to argue with that. Like, they don't have a manager that's gonna like put Mbappe in his place. Mbappe's just got full control.
I think they're just a team that's desperate. They know that they're not in the best league in the world. They've not won a Champions League yet, so they have nothing credible to their name in terms of like, this. When you think about the great teams across the entire football,
they've got money
industry.
though.
They got money, yeah.
They can give that to Mbappe to win them matches.
They know for a fact they don't want to be just that stepping stone team.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. So like a Dortmund, you see like Bellingham and Sancho and Haaland.
Yeah, but
that's a stepping stone team.
Yeah, but I feel like Dortmund pride themselves on that because they make a lot of money out of it, and they're known as the place to go.
Yeah, but PSG are still the best team in their country. It's like
but
Dortmund have Bayern Munich over them. Like, Dortmund have been that stepping stone for years with like Lewandowski, Goetze, Hummels, but they have had Bayern. That like Dortmund know that they're not the biggest team in their country. PSG are the biggest team in their country, and if they want to improve the standard of French football in general, then they've got to like become one of the best teams in Europe. And they're not going to do that by like having a mentality that they're a stepping stone team. They've got to establish themselves as a great.
Yeah, they are.
At that point of time, they couldn't afford losing
Mbappe.
Yeah, I just think it would have tarnished them a lot in terms of being that credible team in not just in French leagues, but in like Champions League and across Europe. Like, if everybody knows to get to Real Madrid is like the top goal, or getting to a Man United, or getting to a Man City. No, it will a little bit, but not at the moment.
I wouldn't sign for you.
But getting to like a Barca or Real Madrid is like your top goal in your football.
For Barcelona.
Okay, should we just say Man City, Liverpool, Real Madrid are probably the top three
at the current
transfer destinations.
And PSG want to be. Well, we'll throw Stockport County in if we want to go like that far. Mark my word, 7 years' time they'll be in the Premier League.
Non-league treble.
That is an interesting take. So obviously
they just don't want to be that stepping stone club.
Yeah, it's
I
understandable.
Think if they saw Mbappe go to Real Madrid, they're thinking, Real Madrid is still considered a level above us. And I think, the president of PSG at the time and the board and everything just want to keep Mbappe, who's known as a world class, as the next big thing. They just want to keep him as best as they can and keep all the big names. So, if it works for Mbappe, it works for him. But ideally, I would have liked to seen him go to Real Madrid or move away from PSG.
Moving back to the World Cup, then we're gonna do a little game.
Okay.
So Jake, today you'll be the judge, as you are the stand-in for the Welsh fan that is still in hiding. Me and Isaac have put together a sort of a team of the tournament so far. So we've both built our own team, and Jake, you're gonna have to decide whose team is better. So
overall,
overall.
Okay.
So obviously it was a bit difficult to build a team. We probably should have waited until the group stages were finished. But it's a little something. Obviously every player has established themselves a little bit and played well. So if you want to start.
Yeah, I'll have the honours. We're starting with goalkeeper.
Yes.
Obviously, yeah. I've gone for Wojciech Szczesny. 2 clean sheets and a penalty save. I think in the first game, in the 0-0 draw, he was quite crucial to Poland not conceding, obviously, because he's a goalkeeper, but he made some big saves, and I feel like that penalty save just tipped him over other candidates because he hasn't conceded and he stopped what should be a certain goal in a penalty. So, yeah, I've gone for Szczesny.
So I've gone for the World Cup hero himself, Ochoa from Mexico, because in the first game, he did just concede 2 to Argentina, but they were both ridiculous goals, and he was good up until that point. And then in the first game, he got his name back as the World Cup hero. He saved a penalty, and he made tons of ridiculous saves against Poland. So yeah, he's my choice for the goalkeeper. And then I'll pick my right back next. Who did I have a right back?
Shall I just say who's the better out of each?
Yeah, you can say you can go each position.
Yeah.
I would choose Szczesny.
Oh yes, go on.
I'm there. That is 1-0. Yeah, I just think they're both brilliant individual keepers, but again, you're looking about how well the team's done as well as not just the individual performance. And even though they've both had stellar performances in the matches, I'm going to go with Szczesny due to the fact he still has yet to concede a goal, and their team is currently first, so I think Szczesny would have to be in there.
We'll recap the combined 11 at the end of this.
Yeah, so
we'll go back through.
So at right back, I'll put Serginho Dest because I was watching the game against England, unfortunately, and I just thought he was really, really good.
Yeah, he was.
And
he had that opportunity in the box as well, so nearly scored.
And the way he gets up and down the pitch as a right back is almost similar to Trent at Liverpool, where like he can attack, but he can defend as well. He can put in a shift, and like I haven't seen much of him because he was at Barcelona, then he got moved to AC Milan. But I just thought he was exceptional against England, and he was like causing us a lot of problems, and he was putting a lot of balls into the box that ended up resulting in set pieces. Obviously, if we didn't have Maguire in the box, then we might have conceded one of them set pieces. But yeah, I thought Dest was causing a lot of problems, so yeah, I thought he deserved to go in at right back.
I've gone for Morocco's Achraf Hakimi. Up there as a shout for one of the best right backs in the world anyway, but he's just proven how good he is this tournament. Like Mazraoui is a good right back, and he's been moved to left back because Hakimi is so good in that position. And in the game against Belgium, he gave Hazard such a hard time. Hazard don't like running anyway, so never mind being one-on-one against Hakimi on that right-hand side. He gets targeted because of how good he is, and despite that, he's still shown his class massively this tournament. He's created a lot of chances, he has a lot of turnovers, and he just moves the ball forward for Morocco. He helps them dictate the tempo, he keeps them solid at the back, and he makes them a threat going forwards.
Yeah, so as a back two, I've gone with Maguire. We've spoken about Maguire.
Just quickly, I wasn't going to go into huge detail in this because again, I haven't really seen too much of both right backs, but again, considering the fact Morocco ended up getting the 2-0 victory against Belgium, and the fact I have seen Hakimi a bit more than Dest. Obviously, they're both very good players, but I'm gonna go with Hakimi on this one.
Oh, okay. So as a back two, then we'll continue. I have gone with Maguire.
Yeah,
so Maguire's a yes. Anyway,
yeah, so we've spoken enough about Maguire today. He just turns up in tournaments for England. I don't know where he does it because he goes back to Man United and he's the worst centre back in the Premier League.
Well, no, not in the worst, but it's like he's the most memed upon.
I don't know. Yannick Vestergaard is still in the Premier
but then
he's also Tyrone Mings as well.
Yeah, he puts an England shirt on. He puts an England shirt on, and he's just Maldini in his prime. Like he's unreal. And then alongside him, I've got Gvardiol from Croatia because Croatia have looked really, really strong at the back, and I feel like he's been the reason for that. And he's got Lovren, who's a very experienced centre back, but obviously aging. And Gvardiol plays in the Bundesliga, so like he's got that physicality that Croatia, because Croatia are a big team in terms of like a very physically dominant team, and Gvardiol like is in a physically dominant league as well, and I feel like he suits Croatia a lot, and he's really been pivotal to the
Croatia
defense.
are like a rash. Got a lot of itches.
They don't go away.
But yeah, who's your back two?
I've gone for Maguire at left centre back, and then I've gone for Rodri at right centre back. I mean, he's usually a defensive midfielder, but he's not been phased by the position change whatsoever. He's been really solid at the back. I know they conceded to Germany, but he wasn't really at fault for that. And he's been unfazed by Germany. He absolutely dominated Costa Rica, and he helps progress the ball forward a lot as well. Obviously, Spain are set up to play in a very close, compact, passing between triangles, progressing the ball very quickly, 1-2 touch passing. And he does that from the back really well. And he's got the ability in that deeper position to just get his head up and find a pass. It's like they've got two Busquets on the field, but just one's playing centre back, and that helps, especially against these weaker teams. That helps Spain a lot. Whether he still plays there later on in the tournament as the teams get more difficult, I'm not sure, but I don't really see any other centre back options for Spain other than having Torres. Yeah, Torres is good.
Yeah, and
you said Laporte. with Laporte as
Oh,
well.
Laporte.
Oh yeah,
he's
Laporte
good.
played alongside Rodri so far.
Maybe
And, like, they
Pau
can always
Torres
play
then.
like
Well, they've got the Man City connection, haven't they? So they'll both
Yeah.
know each other, even though
Yeah.
they're not a centre-back partnership. So
they can always play Aspilicueta at centre back as well because
Such an underrated player.
Yeah.
Although
because
not
they
in
could
anyone's
always play
team.
Marcus Llorente right because he hasn't featured that much Marcus Llorente and he can always play right back. But yeah, Jake, who do you reckon has the best back two?
This one's difficult because I think you both gave good analysis on both players, but I think I'll have to go with Brad on this one.
Yes.
You going Josko Gvardiol, and he looks
Yeah.
really cool in
I
his
think I'm
mask.
gonna have to.
Like the dude, like what was it, 3 weeks ago? Like broke his cheekbone and eye socket playing for. He's like his face was like black and purple, and he's got a mask on, and he's smashing it so far for Croatia.
So we'll finish off the defence at left back. I've got Teo Hernandez. We've already spoke about him. He's been unreal since he got substituted on for Lucas in the first game. He is really one of the best attacking fullbacks in the world, and he does show that in Italy as well when he's playing for AC Milan. He creates a lot of chances, and he's been doing that for France as well. He's making overlapping runs and putting the ball into the box, and he did get the assist for, was it Giroud's goal?
Yeah.
We haven't mentioned Giroud. I don't know if you guys put him in your team.
Well, he's not a centre back, that's why.
I mean in terms of the whole episode. I don't know
have to
if we haven't talked about him yet, but again, another great player.
Another option was Estupinian from. I mean, I've gone for Teo Hernandez, but Estupinian for Ecuador has been really good. But Hernandez tipped it for me because he got the assist too. So he plays very similar to Estupinian, attacking threat massively. Really good at overlapping, really good at creating chances, but Teo Hernandez is just better at it, and he's shown that so far.
So we'll move on into the middle.
I put him on left back as well. So
yeah, so obviously we've got the same left back, so I feel like we both get a point there.
Yeah, so the back five is Szczesny, Hakimi, Maguire, Gvardiol, and Teo Hernandez.
Yeah, so far.
That's a World Cup winning back five, I reckon.
So if we move on into the middle, I got a midfield three of Pedri, Rabiot, and Kovacic. If we talk about them individually, obviously Pedri had a lot of pressure coming into this tournament as it was, because he's been hailed as this like European golden boy who's like the next era of.
Well, Gavi was the golden
Well, yeah, he's like the next Xavi, the next Iniesta.
The pair come together.
Well, yeah,
Xavi and
so,
Iniesta, aren't they?
So and I think Pedri's like lived up to that. Like he always looks calm on the ball. He's always creating chances, and he's never like really been a player that has prided himself on like getting involved in the goals, like assists or goals. Like he hasn't got that many for Barcelona in his career at all.
He's got none.
And he's never he never scored for Spain before. But I'm pretty sure he got the assist for Ferran Torres' goal in the first game.
No, he hasn't got an assist so far.
Did he not?
No.
I think he should have. It was the one where Torres like did a ridiculous touchdown and like scored.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it was Pedri the one that played the pass.
And he's completed 94% of his passes so far this World Cup. It's like 144 out of 154. He plays like he's got eyes all around his head. He's like an owl. He
does read the game really well.
He knows where everyone is. He's got like spider sense.
Considering the fact of his age as well, it's just
phenomenal.
I mean, you've seen it again. You're talking about a new generation. You've seen a lot of people come up now who's about 19, 20 who are just lighting the game on fire. You've got Bellingham you can throw in there as well.
Yeah, because the level of football has gone up so much that these young players have to be some of the best in the world just to get a shot in the first place. So it's no surprise he's played well so far.
So I put Rabiot in there mainly because no one expected him to have a good tournament. No one even expected him to play.
No one wanted him at United.
he scored.
I'm being honest, I did not want him. And I still don't really want him now, but I will give respect to him of how well he's done.
He scored in the first game, and then he still played well in the game against Denmark as well. And I feel like he's really proved a lot of people wrong, because like he's got that... He's a stage in his career now where he doesn't really know what's next.
Is he 27, 28?
Yeah, he's not old, but he's still at Juventus, and he's in and out of the side, and like he's obviously wanting that move, but where does he go? And like he's at that stage where he doesn't really know where his career is. And I feel like this performance in the World Cup so far, if he can like keep it up for the rest of the tournament, I reckon that he can definitely turn a lot of heads towards getting a move.
He's that type of player you just don't know where he fits in though, because you can't put him in like a Brentford, for example, which is which is like a big club feel. Everybody is equal with one another. Everyone tries for the team. You can't put him in that because he'll disrupt it massively. But he's also
Would he though? Because Christian Eriksen moved there last
but Christian
year, and
Eriksen's
Eriksen's a
lovely
big
person.
player. Yeah.
Rabiot is not.
Maybe
You know him
Spurs.
personally?
No,
Spurs
but
could be a good
Rabiot throughout his career has caused numerous arguments, and his mum has as well. Like after Mbappe's
She was the reason
penalty
why he didn't come to United, because she was being, let's say, negotiable with United in terms of his wages. So
Yeah,
she's
and
a big
then
part
the
to
last
play.
of my three, I went with Mateo Kovacic for Croatia because
So
I think Croatia have just been really good. I think people expected them to do well, but I feel like somehow they've done better than people thought they would. And Kovacic is one of those really underrated players in the league that like he'll play for Chelsea, doesn't really get noticed, but is still like one of the best players on the pitch when he does play. Like he strings passes together. He's great at the transition game of getting the ball from the back and getting it forward, and he's done that for Croatia in the first two games as well.
Yeah, he completed 93% of his passes in the last game, and he also created 4 chances too. And he regained possession 9 times as well. That just proves he can do everything, attacking and defence. I think that midfield for Croatia, if you put those 3 into any team in this tournament, it makes them better. I think they're all almost the same player, and that works really well because they can all do every single job well. And if one needs to take a rest, the other one will.
It's like
go in.
it's like
I
a
do
five-a-side
think
team
Kovacic
stream.
deserves
Yeah.
a lot of respect. I think like people have like always very underrated, in my opinion. Or sorry, yeah, I'd say underrated.
Like,
Yeah,
I
I
was
do
watching,
believe Kovacic
I was
is
watching
underrated.
the Croatia-Canada game with my brother, and Mateo Kovacic got the ball just past the edge of the area, probably like 25 yards out from his goal, and to be fair, he fluffed his lines at the end, and he just carried the ball for about 25 yards and got his team way up the field, and that's what he's so good at. But he messed up the pass. But then he got the same opportunity again about 5 minutes later, and he didn't. He took his time and he found the right pass, and that shows he's willing to learn and he's a good player and he recognises his mistakes. And I don't think he gets enough credit at Chelsea because he doesn't fit their system as well, because he's not a player that can play in a 2.
Yeah, they're playing a back 5 now.
Yeah,
And
in
they
this
have been for a
3,
couple
he's
of years.
brilliant.
But yeah, who's your
Obviously.
midfield?
I mean, I
three?
went for Pedri and Kovacic. I
Yeah.
think those
I
are
think
those have
those
been the
two
standout.
are going to be
for
the
sure.
ones to put in, but I'm also going to go Rabiot in there.
You haven't even let me.
Yeah,
say-
you haven't even heard his
Oh, we're not
third
is he
pick
oh,
yet.
sorry, my bad.
I don't. Oh no.
Oh no.
I don't think you'll have heard of him. I've gone for Sofiane Amrabat from Morocco.
Oh, is he the one that used to play for Watford?
I don't know.
I'm sure he used to
he
play
plays
for
for
Watford.
Fiorentina currently.
Yeah, I'm sure he played for
right.
Watford a couple of years ago when they were in the Premier League.
But Morocco play a 4-1-4-1, and he's that first one in that defensive midfield position, and he's just brilliant. He just keeps the tempo all game for Morocco. He tidies up really well, and he's one of them, like a little bit like Rodri. He can get on the ball, get his head up, and move the team forward. But he's also good, like off the ball as well. His screening is really good, and he is one of them where he can enter the box late. He can strike from range. Obviously, he's not done that yet, but this tournament in his position, all he's needed to do is get the ball, turn out, pass, get the ball, turn out, pass, and I don't think he's put a foot wrong. I'm pretty sure in the last game against Belgium, he got a 9 match rating, which is one of the highest in the tournament so far.
Kovacic got a 9.5 against Canada, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, so Jake,
they're all,
is it
they're all good offers.
is it
but
Rabiot or is it
I'd still
I'll
Amrabat?
let you know,
Rabiot.
Rabiot got a 6 in the last game, so...
I'd just purely go by the fact that how Rabiot's got himself back in that French squad, and again, considering the fact he was almost linked with my club, and I really was not happy with that, and the fact that he's done really well in this tournament and what I've seen against him, I will have to probably throw him in for that. Kovacic as well and Pedri are the other two that I would throw in.
Yes, 2-all.
So,
Right.
they're all really good, but I'd also throw someone else in there that none of you mentioned, but the only problem is he's only played 1 game, but I'd try and stick Casemiro in there.
Yeah, I was
For Brazil.
thinking Casemiro, but obviously Brazil play...
They played today,
They played
but
today.
in
Now.
that one game, solid performance, and nothing went wrong for him.
See,
and
I also
he's
think
just
he
that
got a
very
9
not
too.
just because I'm United as well, but the way I've watched him before at Real Madrid, he's just a very controlled midfielder, and he's that guy you just always want in your team if you have the availability.
There's a
for
reason
him.
he's playing over Fabinho in this tournament too.
Yeah,
Well-
I would put him in there, but obviously we need to see how he is in the second game.
well, someone else who's only played one game that I was going to put in was Bruno Fernandes.
I was thinking
Because
that, but
he did play really well in the first game. Obviously, Ronaldo was the one that got the penalty, but Bruno was like creating so many chances, and like it's almost good to see because I'm not a Man United fan. I don't really like Man United, and Bruno's one of them players that like he's very very dislikable, but
Most overhated player in the world.
but he's not been that player recently that he was when he first joined, and like that game in the first one for Portugal, he was exceptional.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
But I was refraining from putting him in my team just because he played one game.
Yeah, I guess that's the curse of like when we've
Yeah.
when
decided
we're
to
doing
do
this.
Well, by the
this.
time this episode goes out, he would have played again. So maybe he goes and scores a hat trick, and
We
We could
look
always
stupid.
do this
We
again for
look
like the
stupid.
knockouts or something like that. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could return at the end of the tournament and see how similar these
yeah,
teams
see
are
how we
to-
compare to
Yeah.
what we said earlier. So finally, we'll move on to the front three, and I feel like they'll be very similar.
Yeah,
I've gone with Mbappe, Gakpo, and Messi. Mbappe's self-explanatory. He's been probably the best player in the tournament so
3
far.
goals, 1 assist.
Yeah, he's been exceptional for France. Cody Gakpo, obviously, he had all the like hype before the tournament. He's been on form for PSV this season,
Yeah.
and he's backing it up. Like,
main guy to watch out for in the transfer window as well.
well,
Not
yeah,
just for United,
he's been
but for
getting a
anyone.
lot of attention. So I've heard that
similar stats to Haaland as well. I mean, it took a while for everybody to notice that, but with Haaland shooting in goals every single week, Gakpo's doing similar.
yeah,
similar
but
same thing.
it's hard to get the spotlight when you're playing in the Eredivisie compared to the Premier League.
But it just shows how much like this guy's going to be in terms of getting that big money move. It's either going to happen in January or in the summer.
So in
And
terms of Gakpo, like
He's played in 2 different positions too. He's played at attacking midfield and at striker for Netherlands. So, and he scored from both positions. So he's got that versatility as well. Because he's usually a left winger, but they play 3 at the back with a triangle up front, and he's played behind the strikers and then up front in the forward line.
So, just a bit of news. I've been hearing that Man United have agreed a €60 million deal for Cody Gakpo in January.
Who's the source?
I'm not sure, but I have been seeing
It's
it.
a lot of up and down.
But then
don't
I
think there's
heard-
anything concrete
But then
yet.
something this morning came up today that said that Newcastle are also on his.
That'd be awesome. I really don't need
So both Man United and Newcastle will probably fight for him in January.
I'd rather sign for Newcastle.
I probably would as well. I would
I mean,
much
I
rather
can't
play
fault
under.
Newcastle.
Cody
Well,
Gakpo, Isak, and Sant Maximin.
Cody Gakpo would
that's
join
nice.
Newcastle
I like
and
that.
be one of their best players. If he joins Man United, he runs the risk of
Being
potentially
Jadon
being
Sancho.
ruined like Jadon Sancho. Or
He's not ruined. Again, he's going up and down on the bad period, but the guy's 21 and there's
he
so
hasn't
much
had a
time
good
to be-
period for Man United.
He scored
He
that
had a
one
brief
goal
spell
against Chelsea.
last season. And
Oh
near
yeah,
the end.
and that one goal against Liverpool, which was quite good, where he sat the whole defence down.
But the only thing
It's
is,
the
that's-
point. It's just getting into it. I mean, it's again we're swapping managers left and centre. He was bought by Ollie. Now he has to do Ten Hag's system, and
yeah.
it'll
Yeah, but
take
so
time
many
for
players
to
go through
up and
that
down.
in football, where
Yeah.
they'll play for multiple different
Don't get me
managers,
wrong,
but they'll
I'm not-
still
I'm
play
not
well.
And
backing
if you're a
him
good
as
player
he's
and a
done well.
willing learner, then you'll
You
try
can
and
adapt.
learn and adapt. Yeah. And
But I
Sancho
think
hasn't.
this thing where he's not in the World Cup and he's turned off his social media as well. He's not getting involved online, which is I think is a good thing. Just see how he is. I'd say in the next year or two, and
So-
I think he's just going to put his head down and work really hard for Man United. Because again, we've seen how he is at Dortmund. I think he's got the capability of being in a world class squad and being like the star for that squad as well. So it all depends on time.
Yeah.
I'm still backing him to do well. I just think stuff like this where he's not in the World Cup, I think it's going to give him a big advantage, especially for the season starting again in January.
I saw a video of Sancho training and he still weren't running.
Anyway, so we
Where's
were
that?
talking
Where's
about
that?
I was on Instagram.
we were talking about Cody Gakpo and not Jadon Sancho. But my final pick being Lionel Messi, because he's been directly involved in all 3 of Argentina's goals. Without Messi in that team, Argentina would probably already be out of the World Cup. and he's been so important to the fact that Argentina still have a chance of going through to the knockout rounds. And he's just been that player again that he always is, where he's just creates moments of magic that just out of nowhere. Like it's not just like he's played well all game. He could have such a quiet game all game, and then just completely flip the switch and just pull something out of nowhere, and that's just the player he is.
I went for a hipster's pick instead of Messi. I mean, I love Messi. He is the best player in the world, and I would have him in the team if it weren't for any.
I wouldn't say the best player in the world anymore. On current, I'd say he's the greatest player ever. But
I still think he's the best in the world.
I'd say that Kevin De Bruyne's probably the best player in the world.
De Bruyne,
he hasn't exactly turned up at this World Cup for Belgium.
No.
But I still think he's the best player in the world, for Man City at least anyway.
Well, if you add the form of the season we've had so far plus the World Cup, I would put Messi above just because he's carried on.
And maybe Mbappe as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to think about him as well. I mean, I'm not really going to say anyone from Arsenal, but I'm just, in terms of like the team as well, I'd say they're currently on form to be one of the best in the world at the moment.
I got very concerned that he was going to name an Arsenal player as the best
No,
player
not
in the
as
world.
that. I'm just mean currently in terms of the team, you'll put them up there. I mean, I don't like Arsenal, but I'm going to be honest and say how well Arteta's managed to turn this around. I mean, again, credit to the board because they could have easily sacked that guy, but they've managed to keep him in.
I like Arsenal and what they've done this year because you just keep waiting for them to bottle it. But they're just not doing it, and like.
Well, we've still got.
You still got we've still got over half the season left. But
it
like,
would be interesting to see.
We're going into these games where they've played United and they've played Spurs, they've played Chelsea. You're thinking, oh, this will be the game they slip up, or this will be the game.
Slips up against United,
and they keep
derailed them though.
They keep winning, and then Man City are having slip ups against teams that they probably should be beating. They just
Ivan
lost.
Toney, someone should have come on the playing by the
way. I said this last week that Ivan Toney probably should have been in over Callum Wilson.
Yeah.
But it's a story for another day.
But my other choice other than Mbappe and Gakpo, because I went for the same, is Enner Valencia for Ecuador. 2 goals in the first game, a goal to get a point against Holland as well. Nobody predicted, like we said this last week, nobody predicted him to do as well as he had. He's played up front and he's played left wing. He's shown his versatility. And obviously Ecuador won the first game, so there was no real risk of them being out of the tournament. But you put Ecuador up against Netherlands, everybody would have gone for Netherlands, and yet he snatched it towards the end. And I think he's going to continue being that figurehead for Ecuador throughout the rest of the tournament. I think they'll beat Senegal and potentially top the group, depending on goal difference. And they could even get to the quarterfinals if he continues this form. I mean, obviously by the end of the tournament, Messi may have scored a lot more and probably will have earned his place in the team. But for now, I think, especially for the games we've had so far, and for the importance of his goals, I think Valencia deserves to be in the team.
So, Jake, this is a question that I bet you never thought you'd have to answer. Lionel Messi or Enner Valencia?
I'm actually not going to answer it in the way you want me to.
Oh no.
I don't know. I'm thinking, in terms of position changes, there might be a slight one, but to get a front three where it might be a bit different.
Yeah, I'll put Messi up front because he's played up front, and I'll put Mbappe on the wing because he's played on the wing.
Ideally, I want to put as my front three. I don't know where you position him, but Mbappe, Messi, and Valencia. I want to leave. Gakpo
so you're leaving Gakpo out?
I want to leave him out. Just purely by the base of he is a phenomenal player. He's very good, but again,
he's thinking of the team building rather than the actual. He's been better.
I'm thinking Messi and Mbappe have to be in there currently, and Valencia, considering the fact for Ecuador, he's got 3 goals for him, and he's up there with Golden Boot. Like, I think currently at this time he has to go in there. I just think Gakpo's missing that little edge where I can say he's in there, because I can't really choose Gakpo over Messi right now or Mbappe, and I just think Valencia has done a bit too much to say, oh no, he's not going to be considered in this. So I would take Gakpo out, and I'd probably, I don't know where, I'd probably say, even though he hasn't really played on the right, I'd say the front three would probably be Mbappe, Valencia and Messi.
Right.
Oh, so our underlap team of the tournament has 12 players in it. we have a front four of Valencia, Gakpo, Messi and Mbappe.
Gakpo's been left out.
So is it all down to Jake's opinion?
Yeah,
then?
so Jake's finalised. Chesney in goal. I think that's fair enough. Hakimi right back. Teo Hernandez left back. A brick house partnership of Gvardiol and Maguire. A midfield 3 of Rabiot, Kovacic and Pedri. And then a front 3 of Mbappe, Messi And Enna Valencia.
Enna Valencia.
He has to be in there for this
Yeah,
current
that's true.
time.
So far.
Imagine
So
Enna
far,
Valencia
yeah.
goes and wins the Golden Boot.
It would
He
be
very well could
the
do.
highlight.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who wins. It'd be a highlight of the tournament, I can imagine.
I'd imagine so. And he's like, he is ex West Ham, ex Everton. Like, apparently he's being linked with Everton again.
Yeah.
But like, he completely failed when he went there the first time. So I don't see why Everton would go for him again. Obviously they're lacking a striker, but Calvert-Lewin is coming back now. But I don't know. Enna Valencia's been playing for Fenerbahce and he's been really good. And then he's just turned up to this Ecuador team in the World Cup and just completely turned into prime R9. Like,
just quickly before we want to finish this up, do you guys want to maybe do a quick on just think about it right now as manager of the tournament?
I was thinking of writing a manager down, but I don't know half the names.
Yeah.
Or just say the country.
Probably
just 'cause
Didier Deschamps.
Yeah.
Because he had a lot of pressure on how he was going to set up this new France squad in terms of no Pogba, no Kante, no Benzema. Like, he had a lot of pressure on him in terms of how he was going to put this team together. Like, the France squad has little to no leaders in the dressing room because obviously Benzema hasn't gone. Varane isn't really that character in the dressing room that would take that lead, and like Pogba's probably someone that was rallying them when they won the World Cup in 2018.
They'll be getting all the dancing in the dressing room going.
Yeah, so I feel like he had a lot of pressure to deliver.
Brings the speaker.
Yeah, get the TikToks out.
He had a lot of pressure to deliver, and I think France have looked like probably the best team in the tournament so far, and he's still made France look exceptional.
Yeah,
so.
and he's broke the curse. And they also went 1-0 down to Australia. They could have easily crumbled and had the whole world going, oh, there we go, the curse
But
is
they
struck
still
again.
destroyed
and
Australia.
they destroyed them, yeah.
So yeah, I'd say Deschamps is probably my
Quick
pick.
shout out to Australia for beating Tunisia, by the way.
Oh,
I don't
that
think
was
anyone
good.
expected that. That was nice.
I would say, besides from their last game, I would say the Saudi Arabia manager, just purely by the fact that they
beat
outclassed in
Argentina.
tactics
And he's got
against
wonderful
Argentina.
hair.
Yeah. I know. I just thought like maybe I could have maybe slipped him in, but again, he just did lose the next one.
I think
but,
the Ghana
you know.
manager has to be mentioned because Ghana came into this tournament as the lowest ranked side, like in FIFA, well in the World Cup at least anyway, and they've come
lower
in
than like your Saudi Arabia and
yeah,
Tunisia.
Ghana were the lowest ranked team in the competition.
That's
and they've
shocking,
came
Jesus.
in. They've just won 3-2 against South Korea, which
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have been expected because South Korea is still a good team, even if like
Wait, even
they
lower than like Qatar.
yeah, like Qatar have recently just won the Asian Cup. Like Ghana were the lowest ranked
Fair
team.
enough.
Because he got group staged in AFCON.
Oh right.
But yeah, so they nearly got something from the Portugal game, and they've just took a win against South Korea. So Ghana could still go through into the knockout rounds with the final game around the corner. And obviously, I don't think anyone put them to finish any higher than third or fourth when you look at their group of Portugal and South Korea that you probably thought it would be one of those two teams to go through.
Yeah.
Who's your manager of the tournament?
I'll just agree with you, Didier Deschamps. He's done a good job.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So that is it for today. I noticed while I was looking that 70% of people that watched last week did not subscribe, so that needs to change this week, please.
Yeah, subscribe. And also let us know your team of the tournament so far down in the comments so you can make the same comparison.
Who did we miss from our tournament? Our team, sorry. So yeah, we're uploading every Tuesday, so come back next week for a new episode and we'll have a new guest once again.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, so
I will be back hopefully.
We didn't want to give you the news live on air, but
so
here's
yeah,
your P45, Jay.
Oh, cheers.
Sorry.
I'll take that.
we'll see you next week.